Hey all, Scott here, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about Folio number 1. It's one of my absolute favorite adventures. It's one that I've run many, many times. And of course, it was the one that started the whole Folio adventure series within Art of the Genre. So I wanted to give people a little bit of information just on how I set up the campaign and some of the thoughts that I had involved in it. And I think I'll do this in probably a few parts. So you'll get different parts of not only this folio, but probably some other folios as well as I continue the series if anyone's interested in watching them. But anyway, this is folio number 1. This begins the Rosloff Keep campaign. And as many of you know, Jim Rosloff was an artist and kind of an art director for TSR back in the right at the turn of the 70s to the 80s. And he passed away a few years ago, but he's absolutely one of my favorite artists, and he did some incredible work for those really early AD&D adventures. So I named this after him because this keep is kind of an homage to Keep on the Borderlands, although we do obviously a lot of other spins on it, because when I originally played Keep on the Borderlands, I absolutely loved that keep, but there wasn't a lot to it. You kind of went out and came, but unless you put a lot of work into creating something within it, it was kind of a way station, and that was definitely not what I wanted when I started out Rosloff Keep. So one of the things that I want to talk about in Rosloff Keep is the concept that I did concerning banner companies and the dungeon itself. It was placed to me by one of my players almost 20 years ago now that said you cannot, whatever you do, you can't make an original dungeon, especially not one that holds your attention. So I went out looking specifically for a way to do that, and what I came up with was not only a unique setting that I did specifically for them, which I'll talk about, but also encapsulating the dungeon into kind of a living entity that was always adapting to kind of thwart the players. And this gives so many great options to the DM. And that's what I like about this, because it not only allows you to attack a dungeon as a player, but it also gives you an opportunity to kind of go back against the players as the DM. And within the constructs of some of the rules that are involved in it, especially the banner company rules, you also have the opportunity to add a lot of new wrinkles, because in this particular type of dungeon crawl, you're not alone in the dungeon. There are other adventuring parties down there, and they all have their own motives, and it gives another piece that the dungeon master has to utilize or use against the players or for the players in some standpoints. I'm going to show you here. This is one of the original proofs that came for this. This is a little larger than the standard, but it shows you Rosloff Keep, and it shows you the first level of the dungeon. And I can probably put in a better piece for you to take a look at this, but I just wanted to show it to you here because I'm kind of using it for reference. What I've done here, it kind of goes through all of the bits of the keep itself, and then as this campaign expands, you get a city around it, and it will have a lot of different things and wrinkles to put in, just to give the opportunity for your players to get to know the environment that they're in, to settle in, to get a feeling of community, which I think is very important. You want to be able to know the merchants. You want to be able to know some of the other houses or the other people that you're interacting with if you're getting potions or something like that. Not just look specifically at just a dungeon crawl. Obviously, this is an intense dungeon crawl. It's 6 levels. Is what you're looking at when you go entirely into the campaign itself. Each one of them comes with a gazetteer to kind of explain to you what is going on in each level. But this initial piece is really based on the banner companies and how you can set those particulars up for your adventure as it is and your players. One of the things I want to touch on, I'm going to go into, I think, the banner companies more specifically in another video. But I wanted to talk to you about the campaign. Rosloff Keep is a very standardized adventure keep that can be set out in the wilderness, or as I said, you can expand it with the town that I have around it, which is going to give you more opportunities as players to go in and interact outside of the dungeon if that's something you like as a DM. Obviously, you can just use it as a dungeon if you like, but this gives you a lot of other opportunities. And one of the things that I did when I was challenged to do this was try to make a different wrinkle to it. So the Rosslaw Keep that you're talking about here is very standard. It was meant to be used anywhere you want to use it. But one of the wrinkles that I went through when I've run this campaign before is taking this setting, taking the keep, taking everything. You can leave it absolutely the same, but what you have the opportunity to do is locate this keep in an evil setting. One of the things I did was made this kind of an evil city with an evil keep, and the banners obviously are something that everyone competes on because it's the only way you can go into the dungeon is to have one of these standards that each company has. And the house that we're talking about here and the banner that the players are going to have for the Ivory Scimitar, it always is an undermanned up against the wall kind of house that is a human house, but it's getting ready to be run out. And one of the changes that I made was some of these things, I took the banner companies and made them sponsored by Drow, Knolls, or anything like that. Had the whole city just a humanoid city instead of a human city. So you were really outcasts as a good party who, for whatever reason, I gave each character a reason for being here. Most of them were conscripted into being into this company. They didn't even want to be there in the first place. Give them a little backstory, and then have them work toward trying to get out of a contract so they can get the heck out of this place. But through the course of that, they might learn to actually see how a city of humanoids runs. And you get a lot of great opportunities to, have a beholder going down the street. I had little gangs of goblins on wargs that they were like biker gangs. I mean, it's just something that you can do. There's all kinds of fun stuff that you can do with it that the players will be terrified to go out of their house, especially at lower level. But as they grow, they will get a lot of different opportunities with people trying to gain their trust, use sponsorships so they can give them potions and stuff like that. And also the ability to go out and interact in a city that might not be as good as other cities. That is just one wrinkle that I've used with this. But again, I know people that have run this campaign many times as well through through people that have got it originally on Kickstarter. And I would like to know in the comments below if you've run it or you've set it in any particular odd place or given any other wrinkles or stories. I'm also going to provide a link below to artofthegenre.com. If you want one of these, if you don't have it and you've just seen this video, you can take a look at the campaign. Everything's currently discounted there, and you could go for the whole campaign. But anyway, this is the first thing. This is just about setting. Hopefully I haven't taken up too much of your time today, but I just wanted to touch base with it and tell you a lot of my thoughts and how I kind of went into it. And on the next part of this, we're going to go into banner companies and see how I used them specifically in the dungeon as well. And then maybe a third part will go into the machinations of the dungeon and how the dungeon work. But anyway, thanks for taking a look today here on my YouTube. Subscribe, that would be great, and get notifications because I'll have other videos coming in for all of my folios. And hopefully we'll see you back next time. And if you're playing Rosslaw Keep, I hope you enjoy it. And tell me about it, because I'd always like to hear in the comments how other people are doing things and how they're handling my adventures. So thanks. We'll talk to you later.